content to let me shine. That's your way. You always want a step behind. I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. Yes, only a face without a name. I never once heard you complain. No. Did you ever know that you're my hero? You're everything I would like to be. I could fly higher than an eagle. Yeah, yeah. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings. It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but daddy, 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 I've got it all right here in my heart. Yes, I can say, and I want you to know. I know the truth. I know you know the truth about it. You know the truth now. I would be nothing, nothing without you. Without you. Did you ever know you're my hero? Yeah, yeah. You're everything I would like to be. You're a part of me. You're a part of me. I could fly higher than an eagle. Oh, 'cause you are the wind beneath. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tea Time with Bunky. Tonight, I have a special guest, Mr. Darren Rayner. Hey, Darren.
How you doing? Thank you for
I
having me.
I'm excited. I'm excited. For people that don't know, Darren, I met Darren at New Hope Community, and I'm going to tell you something which you probably never known. You didn't know this. Well, wait. Let's back up. Darren has an MBA. MBA. You work for
Today's
today's
yep,
teachers,
tomorrow's
today's
students.
students,
Yep, today's students, tomorrow's
tomorrow's
teachers. Yep,
teachers. You have it's an executive position, right?
yep, yep.
You were an assistant
A deputy
executive.
executive director.
Big things, big things. But let me go back to how I met you.
Sure.
But you didn't know because I was at New Hope for a while before you got there, right?
Yeah,
And
yep.
there were no people of color in the main building,
Crazy.
none. I remember go. I must have been up there a few times, right? A few times, and by then Jason,
Yep,
you and Kevin were there.
yep.
I
That's
thought you all were the same person
yeah.
until I was like, wait a minute. Wait, I mean, but at first there was none,
Right.
then there were three, all in position, and that
That is funny.
blew my mind. And I would have been embarrassed to say that before, but like, it just shows that New Hope was getting with the times, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely.
then you made a comment to me. I remember before you had any kids, you had no kids at the time.
Yeah,
When you had your first son, your oldest son, you made a joke with me. You said, "I'm following in your footsteps."
I remember that.
And look at that.
I remember
Now
that.
you have three sons.
That's right. And we
Yes, you
would
do.
always, every time we would see each other in the hallway, we talk about your kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And now look at your fellas.
that's right.
Look at your
Follow the
fellas.
footsteps.
Since we're talking about footsteps, let's talk about your growing up in Monticello?
Sure.
Because you've told me like little things here and there, like some rough ends, but what was it like growing up being a young boy of color in Monticello? I mean, you had a lot
Sure.
of friends.
Yeah.
Monticello's multicultural.
Yeah. It was when you kind of look back at it compared to today. I would say that safer. Right? I would say safer. Um, during that time, in the 90s, 80s, you rode your bike around, you played kickball in the street,
Right.
you walk to your friend's house, you sneak in your friend's mom's refrigerator because they had better juice than you had, things like that.
Yeah.
And it became it was a community.
Hmm.
There was things that happened today that happened back then, but for the most part, most of the kids kind of got along who grew up in the neighborhood. We travel to Sleepy Hollow, we go to Cottage Street and try to find some pickup games. And just through those interactions, we started to kind of grow and know more kids and more parents and things of that nature. But for the most part, it was pretty good. It was a pretty good foundation. And back then, I walked down to Fulton Street, a Fairchild, and my friends' parents would they knew where I was at that point. So Darren, it's getting late. You got to go home, or invite you in for dinner, something to that effect. So it became a nice little community.
Now, what were your influ- what were your influencers? Like what was it? Do you know, or was it not one particular thing that made you go into the field?
Yeah,
The helping people feel,
yeah,
basically.
that's a good
The
question.
education, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think my mom, she was a hard worker. She worked in the county for 30 years, retired. 3 kids, single mom.
Your
Worked.
mom had 3 kids too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Worked several jobs to put food on the table. Went to Sullivan while she was working full time and raised us. So I think that's where the foundation started.
Wow. Uh-huh.
Dad was around, and showed up, played catch and did the things that young men needed, and when I needed him, he was around. So I think for people like us growing up in our community, we need that male presence. And I had that for the most part. Um, and I think, right, same thing that's happening now with my kids, the Little League. I remember I could name Little League coaches that I had growing up,
Uh-huh.
and some were police officers, some were, uh, you know, firemen, some were, guys who worked in the school. It varied, so
Right.
so it gave you an opportunity to meet people from different sides. But all these people who volunteered their time, cared about the kids.
Right.
So when you get that at a young age, you want to, as you grow, you want to kind of get that back to the community and be able to spread that as well. So I think those were some of my influences, and of course, friends, family members.
Mm-hmm.
Judy Dawson, she was great. She always watch out for us anytime. There was a couple blocks where we lived at was that could get out of control, and she'd always be looking out that window. When she saw something, she yelled at, "Hey, get in this house!" Or,
Uh-huh.
"Hey, time to go home!" Right? So, so things of that nature. So you got parents, you got community members, and that kind of was the main key to kind of help me stay on track and stay focused.
It really doesn't seem like it's like that anymore, though. Seems like the parents are afraid to say anything to these kids. Like back in the day,
Sure.
that's saying a community raised you.
Right.
Now it's like parents are scared, scared to
Yeah.
say anything because a child will come at them sideways,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
then the parents will hold them up in it. Like, don't talk to my child like that. Like, how would you feel if a parent that you knew or whatever, saw one of your sons, going the wrong way?
I would
Would you
want
have a
them to say
problem?
something. I want them to say something,
Okay.
right? Because that's the only
Right.
way we're gonna help each other out as a community,
Right.
and I do the same. Like that's for me, coaching ASO and Little League and doing some type of youth activities in the community gives me a chance to really meet some of these young folks out there. So I
Mm-hmm.
think I have that relationship to if I see them, it's gonna be like, all right, Raina, all right, Raina, I'm leaving, or something to that effect. But I think it's all about building those relationships and not always taking that stern, hard approach. Today's our youth, they want to be respected, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're young, and they got their own emotions and they got their own thoughts and ideas, and they want to be respected. And I think it's these young ones. It's tough. It's a challenge to earn their respect, but that's what they want to see. And as adults, we got to understand that. And I think we get to the point to where we want to control everything.
Right.
And, not saying that that it's about control, but I think we got to allow our young youth to kind of be heard,
Yeah.
right, and allow them to kind of spread their
Definitely.
wings and make some decisions.
Hmm.
And I'm not talking about decisions that are going to hurt anybody. I'm just saying that if they make a bad decision, that can be, that they can learn from and say,
Exactly.
I could have did it a different way. But if we always tell them do it this way, do it this way, do it this way, they're gonna get to the point where they stop listening to us anyway and start making their own decisions, which
Yeah, well, yeah, that's facts. That's facts. Um, when you were growing up, because you said, like the police officers, the firemen, like you named people that today kids are kind of afraid of.
yeah, absolutely. It's a lot different today. It's a lot
It's a
different today.
it's a lot different. Like,
Yeah.
did you expose your sons to like meeting the police officers? Like,
You
it's
know,
different because you're Darren, and
yeah,
like
sure. Nah,
it.
I think one of the things that I think the schools did a good job with is the resource officers.
Hmm.
Right? And my kids started in school probably when they started with the resource officers. And in Monticello, we got some pretty good resource officers.
Hmm.
They talk to the students, they're friendly, they smile. So I think that's the experience that my kids are seeing when they have those personal interactions with the police. But they watch the news and they see media and they see social media. So they see the resource police officers that they deal with in the school and in the
Hmm.
community, but they also see what's happening in the world too, right? So I'm sure at times they got questions and trying to figure out what this all means, and at what age, do you start to sit them down and explain to them, and you got to be honest with them,
Yeah.
right? You got to be honest with them.
Because I
And I
was
think,
about to ask you, how do you have that conversation? Because I I didn't have things like that when my boys were little.
yeah,
Thank goodness. I don't know. Maybe if I was in a moment, I would just have to go by what's going on at
right,
that time, so that they
yeah,
understood.
sure,
So, do your sons ask you these questions?
yeah, absolutely. Why did that happen? Why did they do that? And you got to be honest with them.
Right
And
now.
it's just like this. It's a conversation. And any more questions? Do you understand? Are you okay?
Wow.
If you ever have any more questions, make sure you ask. Not everybody's like this. And as you don't want to say to them, everybody's bad, everybody's good. You
Right.
want them to kind of learn from their own experiences, but at the same time,
Right.
you gotta protect them.
I don't envy you guys. Right now, with people with little guy, I don't envy you at all. Now, how important is it? Well, when you go out, I'm sure almost everybody knows who you are, especially in the community, right? You drinking your tea? That tea?
That's my tea.
All right, all right.
Tea time, right?
Does it ever bother your boys like when you go out and everybody knows who you are around here?
You know
Because you're known as, let me tell you this.
yeah.
Soon as I posted this, I got Black Excellence.
Wow.
I got Mr. Rayner is a gentleman.
Yeah.
Like things I was like, whoa, okay, he's a heavy hitter. I always knew you were.
Thank
But
you.
this is how people look at you. This is how people look at you. And so when you're out in a community, you know, and you're with your boys and everybody comes up to you, does it ever get old to them? Like,
Nah. I think for them, it helps them understand the importance of communicating,
mm-hmm,
right? And being social, right? You don't talk to everybody.
right.
That's one of the things I say to them. They say, Dad, who you got a lot of friends? And I say, I
Mm-hmm.
know a lot of people. There's a difference. So you have a lot of friends. You can also just know acquaintances and things of that nature.
Right.
But I always make it a point to have good conversations with people, and I say to them the same thing. Because I don't want them to feel like they can just talk to anybody. So I said, make sure you know who you're talking to. They gotta be a friend, not
Mm-hmm.
a stranger. Because when they see me talking to these people, they think everybody's a friend.
Right.
And for them, I just want them to be clear that friendships are built. First, you got to start knowing people. You got to build trust, and then you start those friendships.
Mm-hmm.
So, but and I think they're starting to understand that. As they go to school and they have their set of friends and get into their little squabbles and things of that nature. They start to understand what's really what the real world is about.
And you have, how old is your youngest?
7.
7. You have you have three problems on your hands because they
I
are
know.
three little cuties.
Thank you.
They really are. They are three handsome little boys, and they're biracial boys.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
they're going to get away with more, but yet they're still in the skin that they're in.
Sure. Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
So how are you going to, like, when they get older, or no, as children now, and
Yeah.
and they play with their friends that, okay, they're white friends,
Yeah. Sure.
and they do things at home that you wouldn't allow in your home, like maybe talk to their parents a certain kind of way.
Right.
Like, how do you explain the difference to them?
I think I think just through experience and my interactions, and how I raised my kids,
Right,
I think my kids understand what my expectations are.
right. And what are your expectations of them? It's not a lot, right? It's because I'm like,
Nah, expectations are to be a good person,
right,
right? If mom and dad taught you something at home, that's how you act when you leave this house.
right,
If one of your friends is disrespectful, you back up away from them.
right,
That's not what you were taught.
right.
So it's everything that we raise them under these rules, under
Hmm.
this rule, is what we expect that to happen when they're not around us. You know,
Modeling,
you know. And we
modeling it.
expect them
Right.
to modeling behavior
Hmm.
exactly. And if they see a friend or somebody who needs a little help, we try to get them to say, hey, like on a baseball field, somebody said, hey, go over there and check on your friend, make sure he or she is okay. Like starting out at an early age to have that compassion.
They are going to be great. Oh my God. They are, because, you're involved. Speaking of involved, I'm letting everybody know that we have to leave out at 7:50 because Darren has to go to his son's game.
Under the
That's
light
right.
baseball game, last game
That's
of the
right.
season.
Support. Like, oh, it's the last game of the season?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, yeah, you got to be there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Involved.
But what you
You're
said though, you hit it all. You gotta be present.
right.
And
Now,
I learned that at New Hope, right? At New Hope, I put
learned
12
a
hours
lot
listen
from
every
New Hope.
day.
Yeah.
A lot of time spent, and like you said, when we met, I didn't have any kids, but as my kids got older, I said, you got to find the balance, and at the
Hmm.
end of the day, the balance, the tilt of the balance has to go to the family, right? You got to spend more time with the family than anything else.
Hmm. Now, because of COVID, have you spent more time with the family? Like,
Absolutely,
that time that
yeah,
you're
yeah,
all forced
absolutely,
into.
yeah.
Did you love it?
I
I'm
did.
sure they loved it.
It was great. It was great.
Uh huh.
Gym class. We did gym class outside in the snow.
Oh, wow.
Right? Yeah, we sat. I had the kids read books to me. You're gonna learn. You're gonna sit down. You're gonna do your work, and I think is important too. My middle guy, he likes school, but he ain't gonna sit down and read a book to you. You gotta ask him 50 times, but I'm gonna ask him. He's gonna do it.
I
Um,
believe you.
it's important. It's
Yeah.
important. Because one of the things I try to explain to the kids is, what you're doing today is an investment in your future,
Hmm.
right? And they don't understand that it's playtime, and they want to have fun. And my thing
Right.
is, the more you put into yourself at an early age, the better outcomes you're going to have at an older age.
Right.
And at the older age, that's when you want to be a little more well-rounded, a little more education under your belt, and experiences
Hmm.
to be mature.
Right.
As you get older, life gets harder. As a young one, it's still easy. So you can take that 15 minutes and read that book. That's all right. You can
Right.
take that 15 minutes and write a letter, practice your penmanship, and do some spelling and math. Because you're going to need that when you get daddy age.
Yeah. Which I totally jumped over you, like, really introducing yourself to the people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Because I was just so excited to talk to you, and the last, I was nervous because I'm like, what am I going to talk to Darren about or whatever?
No,
But I'm different than when we first met.
you're
I'm
doing your
different.
thing. You're doing your thing.
But it's
Yeah.
not about me.
And you were
Huh.
one of my influences at New Hope.
Get out.
Yeah, every time I see you, how the kids, right? Because I sent
Yes.
like 3 boys. I want boys. I'm into sports and things like that. I want boys.
And you made that comment to me that always, and I tell you all the time, it stuck with me because I had no clue what you meant. Because I've never heard that. And since I've never heard it. When you said to me in the hallway by the gym, me, you, and Jesse,
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
standing there, and you said to me that I should be proud of myself because I raised three boys with no F's. I'm like, what,
that's
fails?
right.
I don't know. And you said felonies.
That's right.
And I think my youngest at the time was he 17, 18? I don't know how, but I never thought about that. He
Yeah,
said you raised, no, you said you raised three black men with no F's.
that's a big deal.
And I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I and I'm like, that Darren is
yeah.
something else. I'm
The,
like,
the, the, the
wow.
sy- the system is so backwards that it's just so easy for them to hand them out.
And you know what? I see that now. I
Yeah,
see that now. When when your sons get of driving age, not even driver, I'm going to say passenger, because it's at the point where it's passenger. It's not even driver. Do you feel you have to have that conversation with them?
sure.
Like, and it's terrible. It's terrible because it makes it seem like the police are horrible people. But here, you don't have anything to worry about because everybody knows you. And I tell my sons that everybody knows who you are.
But
But when
you
you,
know what though? True, but there's times when I'm driving home from Westchester and it's dark and I get nervous.
yeah, yeah, that's not
Right?
Sullivan County. That's what I'm saying. Like Sullivan County
Right.
knows who you are.
Sure, sure. But yeah, I think all kids need to have that talk eventually. Just from a safety standpoint, right? And,
Right.
and, and how to act and how to stay calm and no need to argue, right? Just
Right.
let's make it out of this one.
Yeah.
So
Try
that
to
conversation needs to be had.
hold your
Absolutely.
tongue. Now, I want to go back to your mom
Yeah.
because I did not know. I don't know your business. Um, that your mom raised three kids
Yeah.
in a single parent household.
Sure.
Were there times when you looked at her and was like, wow, she really going through it? Or did she always have a good mask on her face while she was pushing through, making the best she can for you guys?
All right. Now that's a good question. She was strong. She was strong, and we had some family, that weren't too far away. So and I could name babysitters that watched this when she went to work or school and things like that. But just never gave up.
Right. She did what she had to do to
Yeah,
make it right for her kids.
that's right. Just
And look
like
at what
you.
she did. I know she's so proud, like,
Yeah, but just like you, right? Worked hard to make sure that the
yeah.
kids got everything they needed, and
Try to
and,
set
and
the example to going to
that's right.
school and
That's
wow.
right. Work, get job, and absolutely. So very proud of her.
Wow. It's always good when your sons say that about you, just so you know. It's like always it warms my heart. So, okay.
Absolutely.
Tell the people like the type what today's students, tomorrow's teachers is about.
Yeah. So it's a program that supports students in school districts that come from economic, you know, the backgrounds that low economic backgrounds, and we support students to work on getting their teacher certification. So we have like a 9th through 12th grade program. We go into the school districts. We implement a teacher mentor uh, program for them. We follow them all the way through college. Have 20 college partners, and we try to get them in the field of education,
Hmm.
graduate with the master's degree, and then try to bring them back to their community to
Hmm.
diversify the classroom. We need
My
more brothers.
my
Yeah,
daughter-in-law was in that.
yeah, great program.
Yeah.
Great program, and it's needed in our school districts. We definitely have to diversify the classrooms. We got great teachers up here, but we need teachers in the classroom that represent the entire student population.
Yes, because it really doesn't.
Absolutely.
Now, have you ever, I'm sorry, I keep looking. I got a moth in here. Bug all the way out. Uh, don't do bugs. Have you ever thought about running for like an office or anything like that? Politics?
Nah, nah. Not really. I don't know.
I don't know this, so that doesn't mean like it's totally out of the water.
Nah, it's definitely not.
Hmm.
We definitely need some
More
diversity
representation.
in our politics. Absolutely,
Yeah.
in Sullivan County, and it's just it's a challenge because just kind of looking at the trend of political road in Sullivan County hasn't been favorable to you know to people that look like us.
I mean, they went out during the presidential election. Now,
Right,
what I'm
absolutely.
seeing is a trend in not voting in local elections.
Right, sure, that's true.
Trying to get them to understand the importance
Yeah,
of voting for the people that are really making decisions for you.
yeah,
You know,
yeah. I'll tell you an
forget
interesting
about the
story.
Trumps and stuff.
Right, I'll tell you an interesting story. Like Sullivan County, Monticello, they were hiring a new superintendent, and I like who they have in place now. I think he's a smart guy, nice guy, very approachable. But before they hired him, they were doing information sessions in the auditorium, and I was pinning on Facebook like, "Hey, come out, let's talk to the board. Let's go get some answers to who they're gonna bring in to teach our students to lead
Hmm.
our school district."
Right.
And I think we had 7 people in the auditorium.
Stop it.
Yeah. So I think that's a concern. I think that if we could start grouping up with the same message
Hmm.
and start showing up to meetings and school district and board meetings and legislative meetings and asking for things that make sense for our youth and for our community, we can make a difference. But if we don't do it, we just kind of talk about it behind the scenes. We ain't never gonna make no change.
But sometimes, though, playing the devil's advocate, it's hard, like especially being a single mother role,
Sure.
to be able to go to some of those meetings because you're at
During the
work
day, we're absolutely
and the
100%.
legislative meetings in the morning. Come on.
It's tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
They
When
should, yeah,
those,
they should definitely be later when people get off work and can make it to a meeting, right? So
right.
the question is, who does it work for, right?
Well, not the regular people, not the everyday person that's out there working and trying to make it happen, you
Sure,
know. Um, but like the board meetings, like there were times I wanted to go to board meetings,
sure,
but I didn't have a babysitter.
right,
Like, so what do you do in situations like that? Now, they got all the Zooms and stuff,
right,
right? So maybe
yeah,
they could make that continually accessible
yeah,
and have somebody watching it, so that
sure,
the parents can be involved,
yeah.
more and make decisions and not,
We have to
well,
be
have a
involved.
voice,
That's
you
right,
know.
and we have to.
Now, you being in such a position, right? I mean,
Right.
you know what you're talking about.
Sometimes,
How did you like have any idea how to get the African American parent more involved? Because it's like they have to be a voice. I'm seeing as I'm watching, like when I was going to those Black Lives Matter
yeah,
rallies,
yeah.
and I just don't know why you they're not present.
Right.
Why? Like that's the question. I mean, I was one of them. I didn't get involved until later.
Yeah.
You know.
That's a good question. I don't know, and I don't. One of the things I always say to when we want to implement something, whether it's like I see some of these nonprofit groups want to implement like healthy lifestyles or things of that nature. Um, you know, I started a nonprofit called People in Mind of New York, and I wrote a grant. And what I wanted to do was
I've heard of it.
support youth in the community, but not just in the community. I wanted to bring it to where the youth are. Right? A
Hmm.
lot of times I see a lot of these organizations want to do it in the school because they already got the school population there. To me,
Hmm.
I want to bring it to the neighborhoods where these students are after school on the weekends. I just don't know if we do enough outreach to communities outside of the normal 9 to 5
Right.
and spend time to have conversations with people to find out what their interests are too. Maybe people don't go out and vote or spend time because the things that they want to see done aren't on anybody's agenda. I
Right.
don't know, right? So maybe having these local small town halls in different communities to start saying, all right, well, what do we want done? And asking parents from all these different areas and see what they come up with, and if it's the same kind of things that they want to see happen, right? And we start to put those groups together and say, all right, now that we, there's 30 of us that agree on this, can we make it here this meeting and do
Right.
our best this one time and talk about it with all of us as a team? So, but
Now,
it's a challenge, though. It's tough.
how do you get that word out to the people? Because an example,
Yeah,
yesterday they had, I didn't know, because I'm not, it may seem like it, but I'm not online all the time. I'm really
yeah.
trying to, how do you get it out to people? I don't know if you knew about the COVID memorial they had yesterday. Did you know about that?
I think I saw it online, maybe.
Like, I saw it after the fact.
It was at the government center, I think
It
it
was at the
was.
government center.
Yeah, I saw that, I think, yesterday online.
And it's like, but how do you get everybody to see it?
Right.
Like that's the thing. Because I'm like, if I would have known, I would have
Yeah,
been there.
yeah.
You know, like that's the problem because there is no place really.
Centralized bulletin
Right.
board. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's the county, they usually post a lot of things. They got a lot of things on their website, like headlines and things like that. I don't know if that's something that they do,
Hmm.
but I don't know. Things that are important to the community. Folks in these the mayors, the legislators, they should be definitely pushing it out to the community, and the
Right.
community advocates helping us to get it out there. But I mean, and then also on social media, there's so many things happening that it's easy to
Yeah.
miss something.
Yeah. No, I seem to be missing everything, but I did I did see. I know they'd be so mad at me. I saw Town of Fallsburg. I shared their summer agenda.
Oh yeah, yeah, I saw that was nice.
Yeah, but they
At the park.
had.
At the park?
I didn't share. They posted a big thing for the 4th of July.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I didn't share it. They said they said to come out and celebrate your Day of Independence. So me, I messaged them. I didn't put them on blast,
Right.
and I let them know. I was like, hopefully we'll see this next year on Juneteenth.
There you go.
I haven't heard anything back yet. You know,
Yeah.
so it's like, and I'm not on the Town of Fallsburg page. I'm not on the pages like that all the time. So it's like we have to get word of mouth because, like, I'm sure this grant you put in
Yeah.
is awesome. I know it's all about the youth and stuff. Cause
Absolutely.
you did that. It was soccer right
Yeah,
during
that's right.
COVID. Cause
That's
my
right.
friend Dawn brought her son there.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
Lincoln. Yeah, Lincoln.
I mean you're involved and out there.
Yeah, and even during COVID, a lot of programs shut down, but I thought it was important to invite the kids who wanted to come out. Open field at the Somerville. And
Right.
everybody in Monticello, Fallsburg, know what Somerville. That's the Caves. We played
Yeah.
basketball there growing up. We never got any tennis lessons, but they had tennis courts. We learned on our own. Right, softball field there. And
Yeah.
so for me, it's important to kind of go back to some of the old stomping grounds and continue to do some of those childhood activities that we did growing up. So we invited students up. We invited kids out there, youth out there during the COVID time. Everybody stayed
Right.
healthy, and we ran around, did some exercises, talked about leadership, and had a good time.
Oh, you talked about leadership too.
Yeah, every activity that we do, even if it's sports, there's a lot of things to be learned, right? You have students stretch, and you call one student to the center and say, "All right, you're going to lead this one." Now they're talking. Now they got to lead. They got
Uh
to
huh.
know those leadership skills,
Oh
right?
wow.
Right. You pick a captain and say, that's your team. You got to talk to your team about who's playing where. Right? You got to
Hmm.
communicate with this. So there's so many different things that you could throw into it to help them just kind of, they don't know it. They're not expecting it,
Right.
but, but, they-
Oh,
but
that's
they're getting
scary.
it.
Yeah.
They're getting
Like,
it.
oh my god.
Yeah.
All right. All right. So, I don't want to go too heavy.
Yeah.
I know you're like you told me nothing is off limits. You told me and totally respectable. I don't. But let me just ask you.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you. Being in is it difficult during this time? 'Cause this is a hard time. I know I'm stressed out. It's a hard time. Do you find is it harder
Sure.
being like in an interracial marriage and raising three, they're so cute there, and especially
Thank you.
green eyes, them eyes.
Ring, yeah.
That's a problem. That's a problem. But do you find it more challenging? Do people, because people know you here,
Yeah, yeah,
but do you find it more challenging from the outside, not within your home, because that's your
yeah.
norm?
That's a good question. I appreciate you asking it. And I would say no.
Okay.
Because I grew up in an interracial household,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm comfortable in my skin,
Right.
and what with and my decisions that I made to be
Right.
in a relationship that I created.
Right. That's your
So
boo. Right.
that
I said that's your boo. You know, but
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
So
but not her. I'm not talking about her. I'm not talking
nah,
about your inner circle.
I know
The
what you mean
outside
outside.
people. Yeah.
Nah, because
So
they no,
okay.
yeah,
Because like that was always like my fear. It's like,
yeah,
people. It's
absolutely.
scary. You
Yeah,
know.
you're right. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we've been doing this a long time now.
Yeah.
I've been doing this a long time now, and you know, confident in the relationship, and
Right.
and just growing up. I was just being in that same kind of household. We just learned how to get through it, and not let it hold us back, and change our mindset, and change how we feel about things.
Right. And I met your wife once. It was at the
Yeah.
25th anniversary. She's a beautiful woman
Thank you.
and confident, because you have to be confident,
Yeah,
especially with you
absolutely.
working at New Hope. She
Yeah.
had to be confident because those women there were like vultures. They really, really were. But that's always. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know. I I had a question. I mean, like
Yeah.
we'll probably get ready. It wasn't my question. Like I had put out there
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to my Facebook viewers, like, what there anything that they want, you know, anything you want to see, like on Tea Time,
Sure.
and a question was thrown out. I mean, it's not you, but your mom kind of went through it now.
Uh-huh.
Raising single mothers, raising men, and you're raising your little I
Yeah.
got a princess, so I say prince.
Yeah.
Your little
Yeah.
prince is to be kings, right? To
Yeah.
walk in their authority.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to not take away from the other 50% of them,
Mm-hmm.
but to be confident and stand out for who they are. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Especially when it's
Absolutely.
not celebrated.
Right.
So, like, do you have like any suggestions to the single moms out there
Yeah.
that are trying to raise their sons when there just seems to be a target on their
Yeah.
backs?
I would say, keep doing what you're doing, but
Mm-hmm.
look to the community for some help. You got plenty of male role models out there
Right.
that a phone call, a text, an email
Mm-hmm.
would be willing to step in and give that support. I know it. Right? I can name 10 people right now. So you're not out there by yourself. You're not out there by yourself, and that's why we do the volunteering with all these youth organizations and sports programs to be
Mm-hmm.
able to take some of that pressure off of parents. You know.
Now, are there a lot in Sullivan County? I don't have a little people, so I don't know what's going
Nah,
on.
I mean, you got the ASO, you got the
Mm-hmm.
Little League.
Get them
You
ASO.
got Lou Velasco does some soccer. When the hub was open in Monticello, there was some programming going on there. But I think the more important than all of that is the mentoring. Right? I
Right.
think our young males need mentoring.
Right.
And I talked to my friend Jesse Hinton, and we talked in the past about trying to put together something to do
Shout out
some
to
mentoring
Jess.
for the youth. But I would say any parents out there that
Mm-hmm.
need a little support, feel free to reach out. We are here. You know,
Wow.
we are
You know,
here.
I didn't have that when my boys were little. I
Yeah,
mean, they might have been there. My cousins, Jesse and Charles and John
yeah,
and all of them, my dad and their dad, you, you you know,
right.
was but to be able to call someone like that, or no, because well, Jesse and them, they were young,
Yeah,
but they were always mentors to my sons. My
absolutely.
dad, I could always call on him. He's a retired lieutenant.
Yeah,
So um, it's important. because it's hard raising boys. I
Absolutely.
mean, it's especially being a woman and being a woman in the house with all boys.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and to be able to have an outlet, like
It's
somebody
important.
like you, but they probably wouldn't want to call you all the time because that's taken away from your family. You know what I'm saying?
But that's when we, we strategize,
Right,
right? We figure out best ways to help,
right.
right? And like I said, I'd help mentor anybody, and if I don't have the time, like I said, I know 10 other people that are willing to step up and help out as well. So
Right. Like after school programs and
yeah,
little sports things and
yeah, something on the weekend, grab some lunch and just have a conversation,
oh
just
wow.
different things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cuz that's important for a boy that is labeled troubled
right,
that's really not troubled.
exactly.
He's just going through it,
That's right. Just need somebody to talk to that can relate to and understand.
Like have you ever had a young man that just seemed so far out there but you was able to in everybody else's eyes, put it like that.
Yeah,
In everybody else's eyes, he was so far out there. He was straight going from the school of prison pipeline
yeah,
on his way
yeah,
there, but you were able to shine
yeah.
that light and
Absolutely. I worked at
really.
Job Corps centers
Oh
in New
yeah,
York,
that's right.
yeah, in Texas, Kentucky. I'll tell you. So we were in Texas on a Job Corps one day, and it was me and this gentleman named Mr. Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Williams, older guy, grew up in the South, and he's yelling at this kid. I don't know, he's probably 16, and he's saying, "Son, pull up your pants. Son, pull," like screaming at him. So the kid like gave him the finger and ran off. So Mr. Williams was mad. I said, "Well, Mr. Williams, first of all, you're calling him your son. Like you're saying son. Like,
Right,
you
right,
don't know nothing about him, right? His
right.
dad may not even call him son. So you got to understand our youth." And Mr. Williams was kind of mad at me because he thought I was kind of sunning him a little bit. But I'm just like, you're yelling at him from across. You're calling him son. He's embarrassed. And this kid was rough. He was tough, right? So he wanted to go get him. I said, no, leave him alone. Let him breathe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, 20 minutes later, I walked over to him. I said, you all right? Why he screaming at me like that? They embarrassing me in front of my friend. These little young kids don't want to be embarrassed.
Right.
But we ended up building a relationship. And I mean, he was close to getting kicked out, sent home, in a little gang. And
Oh.
we worked with him, ended up getting his GED.
Mm-hmm.
Got lucky, got a nice little job in Dallas. And he's
Mm-hmm.
doing his thing. But a lot of those scenarios, it's just understanding, just sitting back and like remember that control thing I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always got to be in control. We don't got to be
Right.
these young youth's lives. We just got to help them understand and kind of see the next steps ahead. But allow them to make some decisions. If they fail, they fail. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we all learn.
Yeah, that's the
As long as nobody's getting hurt.
yeah, that's such a good approach. I bet you he felt heard. He felt
That's right.
understood. You know. Yeah, nobody likes to be told what to do and yelled at.
Yeah, especially in front of your friends. Like,
Right. Right.
and a lot of these, this is like the last chance already.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
So,
absolutely.
we-
Job Corps.
yeah, we
But
help a
I
lot.
know people that went to Job Corps just because they didn't feel like they could make it in school. And
Sure, yeah.
they were like, okay, I can go to Job Corps and get a trade and
Yeah, smart students, great
right.
students. Absolutely.
But school just wasn't for them because they didn't have the right teachers
Sure.
actually that understood them and took the time.
Yeah. And,
You
and,
know.
and it's a maturity thing too. Sometimes, we 18 and we graduate high school. That don't mean we're mature, ready to go to college and move out the house. It's like
Right.
we got this thing where, this is how it goes. You're
Yeah.
18, you go to college, you get out.
Well,
Leave that alone. That's who came up with that. Right? Give our youth the opportunity to, be
right.
comfortable when they step foot out that house.
So you're not one of the fathers that plan on throwing your kids out when they turn 18.
Nah,
I'm done.
I want them to be comfortable and I want them to be ready, right? And I
Right.
hope by the time they get to that age, I help them, with the confidence and with the, support they need to say, I'm ready to take that step.
Right. Okay, so we're gonna get ready to end it because you have your game. But before we end it,
Yeah.
is there anything you want to tell the people, like about any groups, foundations, like anything you want the people to know? Because There's going to be a lot of people watching this after the fact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I always I live by this thing. I read a quote once, and it said, Joe has 15 years of experience. Is it 15 years of experience or 1 year repeated 15 times? And I want the 15 years of experience. So I always try to challenge myself to every year learn something different, learn something new, not to get stuck year after year doing the same thing. So
Hmm.
I think it's important to kind of think about that as we grow. And one of the things I say to the youth when I have sessions with them is, just one step at a time,
Hmm.
right? That's all it takes. Like every generation, I want one step.
Right.
Next generation, one step. As long as we keep going forward, one step, we're
Right.
gonna get where we want to be at. And we just got to be patient with it and understand that. But one step at a time. Can't go backwards. We got to go forwards. And we got to challenge our youth to hit those books
Right.
and do the right thing.
And because you stumble doesn't mean it's over.
That's
You
right.
can get back up.
Absolutely. It just makes you stronger.
It does. It makes you stronger.
Yeah.
So I hate for you to go because like now all these questions are popping in my head. But you're a father first,
And I
and you have
appreciate
to
you.
be
And
there.
yeah, and like I said, I remember those talks in the hallway at New Hope there, talking about the kids. And
Yeah.
if your kids are listening, then your mom love you.
Who my fellas? Oh yeah, they know because I treat them
Yeah.
like they're 12. You know.
That's all she would talk about at work. My
Yeah.
kid, my baby. This,
Yeah.
that, every day.
Yeah.
So, and that's why I respected that, and I'm carrying on your tradition too.
Thank you. All right, everybody. Well, thank you. This is our Darren Rayner edition of Tea Time. He has to go. He has his son's game,
Got my
and like
tea.
I said, he's a father first. Yes, tea, tea. So, you all have a wonderful night.
Thank
Share
you.
this. Yes, follow Tea Time with Bunky. Like it. I'm also on YouTube. You can watch it after the live. You know, and tell a friend to tell a friend.
Tell a
Good night,
friend.
everybody.